So welcome to another poetry production. I'm naming them poetry productions now because this is my second video and I'm imagining that this is going to be a series of videos all about poetry. So if you love poetry, if you love writing poetry, if you love hearing about poetry, then tune in and yeah, we can talk to you about it all day. So my first, my second video is all about my next big tip, really. I'm not going to call it a rule because, as I say, I don't really stick to the rules. I don't stick to the rules. Hands up. I don't. Yeah. So I must admit, this tip is probably one of my most important ones because when I realised that I had to do this, that's when my poetry really started to develop and change and grow and become what it is today. So if I can tell you this next tip, it's really important. I would advise that you sit down and have a think about it, because it's really cool. It makes a big difference to your writing and to why you write and, all those things. So without further ado, this is my next big tip. All the big technology here, lovely piece of paper. Find your reason. I always say you can't go wrong with a piece of paper and some felt tip pens. So there we are. So find your reason. Before I found my reason for writing, I wrote really, and my only reason for writing was because I wanted to express myself. I wanted to have a voice. I wanted to be able to be me. I wanted to speak out. And, poetry was a way that I could do that, because I could just write and express myself, and that was how I did it. So when I first started poetry, that was actually my reason. But as time went on, I wanted to develop an audience. I was trying to get, focus my poetry a little bit more. And I was learning more and more about life. And now I have a brand new reason for writing, and I write to inspire and to encourage and uplift and to bring some kind of, I suppose I try to bring an energy to people of kindness and love and things like that, really. So I know it's really cheesy. it's just me. It's just me. So what I wanted to talk to you about was your reason, because it's all about you when it comes to poetry, and my reason is very personal. I use poetry now as a way to uplift and connect, but when I first started to write this kind of poetry, it was to kind of uplift myself, and bring some positivity to myself. So I would always find that after reading my poetry, I would feel a lot better. And I thought, well, isn't that a nice thing to do to make other people feel better? I noticed when I read to people that they would say, oh, that made me feel a lot better. So, that's why I write. That became my reason, and it kind of developed quite naturally. Now, you might find that, or you might find that you're kind of going to have a think about it. What is it that makes you write? What is it that inspires you to write? What is your passion? What do you love? Some people love political poetry. Some people love to make a statement and have a certain kind of thing that they say to people to kind of bring I suppose an awareness to something. Some people like to write about family. Some people like to write about love. Whatever it is, it's your reason. It's your choice, whatever you decide to write, and it's very, very personal, and I would never try to tell you what that thing would be. I mean, I would always try to uplift and bring positivity, because I think that there's enough people talking about, negative things in the world. So that's where I come from. And, you can always find someone saying the opposite of something positive. So, I wanted to kind of bring that light and that niceness to my poetry, that was kind of a little place where people could go to, and then they can feel better for even if it's just for a short while. So, you know, have a think about your reason. What is your reason for writing? Why do you like to write? And what this will actually do is it will bring your audience closer to you, and it will give you a bigger audience. Because, I mean, if you like comedy, then you will go and you will look for people to watch stand-up comedians. That's what you'll do. If you like to laugh and you like to do things like that, then you'll be more drawn to sitcoms and stand-up comedians and things like that. If you really like drama and you like, you know, the kind of thrill, maybe you might go for watching those, you know, crazy kind of kind of thrillers where everybody's kind of where there's a killer on the loose or something. You know, it really is a very personal thing. But what will happen is that your audience will all of a sudden think, that person does this, and they will be drawn to your poetry. So what I would do is sit down and think about something that you'd like to write about and be consistent with it. Don't go off on a tangent one day and think, oh, actually today I'm going to put something out there which is different. You know, try to stick to the same thing. People don't want to go and sit down and to go to a comedy show and then get drama. That's not what they go for. They go to be, you know, made to laugh, basically. So if they don't get that, then they won't come back time and time again. But you will get a consistent audience if you are consistent with what you write. So I just wanted to kind of say that to you, and that's a huge tip of mine, because I think that there's so many people who think, oh, I'm just going to write about something random, and I did it for so many years, and you know, it's brilliant because it helps you to write, and you know, you can write whatever you want, you know, within your own space. But if you're sharing it with people and you want to build an audience and you want to grow your own audience, then find your reason for writing. So that's my number 2 tip for my poetry productions. I like to do these videos and kind of get different videos up, and you know, maybe talk about different types of poetry, different styles of poetry, and maybe think about how we can change this up and make it exciting each time. But for now, this is 8 minutes. I'm trying to make these short and sharp, but I am a rambler. So this is 8 minutes so far, and probably continuing. And I'd just like to say, as a last minute thing, thank you so much for watching these videos. You know, I'm just a writer. I just love to write. So you know, the fact that I'm being asked, you know, lots of questions and being, you know, contacted and things about my poetry is quite, you know, well, it's quite flattering, and I'm quite, you know, happy to help out if I can. So if you find these videos useful, just, you know, comment, share them, whatever you need to do, and yeah, I shall see you next time, and I'll try and think of something exciting to bring to you as my next tip, or you know, maybe something else about poetry. Who knows? It's a poetry production. Bye.